Greetings and salutations, Geo Nerds. This week we're going to look at the Lost Creeks again and the St Lucia Reach. There's 5 creeks altogether, and some of them are still visible, some of them not so visible, but they're all awesome creeks and they're an important part of Brisbane's history. We've stuck them in tunnels and we've chucked them under roads and we've filled them in and we've put pumps in them and we've done all sorts of things. One of them's Toowong Creek. I won't spend much time on that today because I've got a whole Toowong Creek Up the Creek episode coming because it is not a lost creek. It's still visible. The others are fairly lost. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this bit of history, bit of fun. It's not going to be a long one, and we'll get into it. So here you go, the Lost Creeks of the St Lucia Reach. And you know what I'm going to say.
Let's rock.
Hey Geo Nerds, just firstly I'd like to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. Subscribing really helps in the wild and weird world of YouTube. And if you want to get a ding every time I push out a new video, and I do quite a few of them, smash that little bell. So let's get on with the video. Also, as I learn more about the colonial history of Brisbane, I feel I really need to say this. I begin today by acknowledging the Turrbal people, traditional custodians of the land in which we live today, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and acknowledge that they got royally dicked by my ancestors. I take no pride in the knowledge of what was done to these people and recognise their pain. My ancestors came from Northern Ireland, a land not too unfamiliar with land theft, murder and genocide. It just seems a shame we seem to want to do it all again here. Hey Geo Nerds, here we are, starting in the city, heading out to Toowong today to have a look at the, what really is the St Lucia Reach of the Brisbane River. Just having a bit of a pause over South Brisbane and West End, and here we are, there's Toowong Village there, and here's the entrance to Toowong Creek. Now we won't spend much time here today because we've got a whole episode coming up on this very soon where I go from there right through to the source, and it's an interesting one, so I like that. No, we'll go this way. And down here we have an entrance. This is actually called Gailey Creek. It's completely hidden now. There's just a couple of culverts there. It goes underneath Riverford there. It's a lovely set of units and runs up. You can see it's all been completely culverted. Runs across Sir Freginald Drive into a park. And we come up a little further now. This creek is next to the Guyatt Park Ferry Terminal. A little bit old this. It's a new terminal now. This is called Smythe Creek. It just is. It's been confirmed on many maps, and it is the longest creek in that part of St Lucia. We come down here to the last creek on the peninsula, which is called Carmody Creek, and it is the creek that the university wetlands are named after. The named creek anyway, and yeah, it was Carmody's farm was there, hence it got the name Carmody Road, etc. As we pull back here, there is another creek, and it is unnamed. And I contacted James Mackay, our local member. It's just here. And it's the longest creek in St Lucia. It goes way up to Ironside. And I'm proposing we call it Alvey Creek, because that's where the Alvey Reel factory was. So here we have a geological map, and you can see where our creek entrances are there, and the purple is of course our good old friendly Brisbane phyllite. The light green is gravel, the darker green is the Aspley Formation. We've got a bunch of rock going on here, and this Brisbane Tuff, of course, it's all there. This is the LiDAR. I'll mark them on here. You can actually see their valleys in the LiDAR fairly easily. Yeah, it's an interesting one this. It shows you that Carmody Creek's been fairly wiped out, but Toowong Creek got a fairly deep cut there. You can see the LiDAR picks it up well. So yeah, the LiDAR, it's one of my favourite maps nowadays. What I've got here is a map from oldie days. This is from about 1920, and here's our creeks marked. Just thought I'd show you because this has a very good diagram of the drainages, and the drainages are huge. You can see why the university lakes are where they are because they were already there. Not to worry. We got another map coming up now. This is from the late 1870s. It's 1890s. It's a great map. No names on it, but it gives you an idea of what they thought the watercourses were back in those days. And again, same maps. You can see all the housing blocks there. Maybe just a little bit ahead of themselves, I think. Princess Bridge Estate, eh? Well, more about that coming. This is actually a diagram of the uni, and that creek up the top there is incorrectly marked Smythe Creek. That is not Smythe Creek, and Carmody Creek is there. They hadn't actually dug the lakes out then, but this is what they had in mind. These were far-thinking people, I tell you. This is an awesome map. This is from 1924, and it's a pretty map, and it is correctly named. You can read the names on this one. Well, I can. Anyway, I got them. Here's our creeks again, and you can see they had big plans for St Lucia even back in those days. And it's a really nice map. This, when you blow it up, there's so much of Brisbane in it. This is just a tiny piece of the bottom corner. And I thought I'd give you a contour map, just for kicks and giggles. These are 10-metre contours. This is a very hilly suburb. If you've ever been to St Lucia, you will know that. If you've ever tried to walk around it, you will know that. It's severely hilly. The flat bits down are, of course, river gravel. The rest of it is the Brisbane phyllite, all folded and contoured. And this is a aerial photograph from 1936. There's the entrance to Toowong Creek. And if you look there, that's the Gailey Creek. We come along to Smythe Creek just there. And now this is our unnamed creek that I'm proposing is called Albie Creek. We go across the peninsula, and there's the entrance to Carmody Creek right there. So yeah, we pull back a bit, and you can see even in 1936, St Lucia was still pretty vacant. Lots of empty space. And there's the entrances to our creeks right there. Let's have a look at the history, because there's some interesting history here. Well, the history of the creeks of the St Lucia Crescent, I suppose, has to start with the Turrbal people. I'd like to tell you this is in one of the creeks, but it is not. I think it's actually in the Brisbane River somewhere. It really starts with William Dart and his sugar mill. That's it, the beautiful painting of that sugar mill. It really is. Dutton Park in the background there. William Dart's mill, 1850s, something like that. And it hung around long enough, there's actually photographs of it. There's a photograph of it there from, I think, the 1880s, something along those lines. River's slightly in flood there if you have a look at it. But anyway, there's nothing compared to what you're going to see in a bit. So the creek's sort of the Glen Olive estate. This is Glen Olive House, which was up at the between Toowong Creek and Gailey Creek. And it was a beautiful old house. Here's a photo of it taken from over at West End, and as you can see, the houses are no longer there in front of it. This is after the 1893 flood. Everything gone, stumps and what. Here's another photo of it from Toowong, looking over at Glen Olive House. So if you think these last floods we had were big, they ain't nothing. That is you go and look at where that place was. It's amazing. So what happened to Glen Olive House? Well, they left it to someone who didn't want it, so they broke the land up and sold the house for parts in 1924. Sold the house for parts, and the week later they auctioned the rest of it off for houses, and there it is today. Those house lots have changed a lot now. It's all high-rise, and yeah, it's a nice part of Toowong, actually. A nice part of Toowong, St Lucia, really. This brings us to the Princess Bridge. Bridge, you say? What bridge? This is the bridge that goes from Boundary Street over to the university. There's a big picture of it down there. I'm about to show you a photo of the university, a drawing of the university, and there's the Princess Bridge. Look at it, a little mini-story bridge going from Boundary Road over to the uni. And they sold land over here because this bridge was going to be built. And there you go, there's the uni there, and there's the Princess Bridge. It's going right over to Boundary Street. And if you've ever been down Boundary Street, you know there's a really pretty cutting through the Brisbane Phyllite there, and it's an awesome cutting. But you think, why is this here? Why is this here? Well, it's here because this is the entrance to the Princess Bridge. It started here. They mucked around for years, and in 1940 they actually dug it. They started digging it, and you should be able to go straight through this cutting and straight ahead across the Princess Bridge and land in the university. And straight ahead, so if you go straight ahead, look, that road level is the level of the bridge. It was going to be that high. It was going to be fantastic, and you'd have driven straight to the uni, except for World War II, and they ran out of money, of course. Hey Geo Nerds, that's your lot for this week. The St Lucia Reach, all those creeks, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. I didn't get out because I've had COVID for the last week and a bit, so looking forward to getting back to work and getting some videos down. I thought, oh beauty, I got COVID, I could stay home and do some videos. And for some reason, some muppet decided he wanted to use a Kango hammer and remove all the tiles from our swimming pool for the last week, so no audio. It's been terrible. Anyway, a lot better now. Busting to get back into it. We've got the Toowong Creek in the bag. We've got Ithaca Creek ready to go. We've got a fair bit of footage, so I'll have something out for you in the next week or so. Plus we'll squeeze in a few time travels and other things as well while we're at it. Anyway, I was talking to a bloke while I was out doing these creeks, and he said, did you hear about the Supreme Court case, Kate, recently about creeks? I said, Supreme Court case about creeks? He said, yeah, it's about the best way to cross them. Apparently it was Roe versus Wade.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, and hey, you made it this far, please help us to poke the algorithm and smash that like button like it's Space 1999. And if you want to see more, subscribe and share this with, say, 1,000 of your closest friends. And let's see just how far that little algorithm can go before its CPU explodes. Copy you later.